So I'll be talking today about the Russian Overseas Flagship Capstone program in Almaty, Kazakhstan. Here you have just a view of the city. You can see the mountains surrounding the city, which was one of my favorite parts. I loved getting to hike on the weekends and also ski in the winter for far cheaper than in the US. So if you're into that, Kazakhstan definitely has that. So the Capstone program is a 9-month immersive overseas program for undergraduate students. And the main focus of the program is developing a superior level fluency in Russian language through very intense language coursework. And that superior level fluency is really what distinguishes Flagship and Capstone from other study abroad programs, because it's very difficult for a non-native speaker to reach that level of Russian. The program is multifaceted. There's a number of different parts, including elective courses, which are just courses on Russian that are optional to take. You have, of course, the mandatory coursework, but then the elective courses are offered. There are a number of things like Russian literature. There was also business Russian and translation. So there's normally a number of different topics that are offered each semester, and students can choose to participate if they're interested. You also work with an individual tutor, which I loved because you meet with your tutor for an hour every day. They really get to know you personally, and they work on whatever you want to develop. Like if, for example, I'm interested in international relations, so I was able to talk about politics and news with my tutor. And then she also helped me with other weak spots like phonetics or just things that I wanted to work on. And I really appreciated that. There's also conversation partners, which may be familiar to you if you participate in ILAS, but those are local students who you can get assigned to and meet with. They're really great to show you around the city and to give you advice on different things like taking taxis, setting up your phone direction, but also the goal is for you to kind of practice Russian in an informal environment. There's also excursions that the resident director organizes. You stay with a host family, which we'll touch on a little bit later. And then there are regular university courses. So that's where you really have the unique opportunity to take courses alongside local students. KazGU is a recognized university, so of course they offer courses in all different topics. And so you have the freedom there to choose what kind of class you want to take. And of course, it's all in Russian. And then there's also internships with local organizations, which we'll get to later as well. So just a couple comments on this superior level Russian and bicultural competence, which are really a unique aspect of the Capstone program. So the superior level Russian is near native, or it's the level of an educated native speaker on the ACTFL scale. And the way that Flagship students achieve this is through, well, of course, through all aspects of the year abroad, but largely through the internships and also direct enrollment courses. At this level, you can understand not just the core meaning of what a native speaker is saying, but also nuances of the language, such as understanding cultural or kind of between the lines messages in the media. So this is an example. I think this is a picture of the schedule second semester. As you can see, it's pretty full. Students, we got to campus around 9, and the earliest we would leave, depending on your personal schedule with your tutor and if you decided to take elective courses, the earliest students would leave would be around 3, and the latest students would leave would be 6, but that was if they were choosing to participate in elective courses or something like that. So the group language instruction, which includes just all of the basic Russian courses like writing, reading, grammar, speaking, all that, that's going to take about 25 to 30 hours of your week. And then individual tutorials, which I mentioned, and also the direct enrollment courses, which could be 2 to 4 hours per week, depending on the course you pick. And then of course the internships. Here is just a little bit of a more specific look at the coursework. So on the right, you can see the Russian courses that were also featured on the schedule. And then on the left is the American course equivalents. So again, grammar, conversation, phonetics, and then also elective courses. There's some examples there like Russian language in the media, Russian movies, so things like that. This was the spring semester. Oh, and here's the fall courses as well. So here is some of the sample direct enrollment courses that you can take. The top one is the one that I took, which was Kazakhstan's role on the world stage. This class ended up helping me decide my research project and my final presentation for the fall. I gave a presentation on Kazakhstan's foreign policy, and so I was able to take the information from that class and from the dialogue I had with the professor and the students to inform my presentation, where I talked about the different factors that influence Kazakhstan's foreign policy. But other classes that people have taken include history of world culture, history of contemporary international relations, macro sociolinguistics, neurophysiology, and technology of translation of special texts. So there's really just a wide variety of courses, and you can take the course that best suits your interest and your career goals. So the homestays, I would have to say, were my favorite part of the program because I had such a positive experience with my host mom. This is me with my host mom and my host sister at an event. This was interesting. This was a huge party to celebrate that a child had taken their first steps, which was cool. So every participant lives with a Russian-speaking host family that is mandatory on the program, largely because they really want you to practice using Russian in all sorts of different contexts, both informal and formal. So having a host family is critical to that. And the program really wants you to be comfortable with your host family. You fill out the preference form where you can talk about dietary restrictions or any specific requirements or concerns you have with living with family. Everyone has their own room. The host families are also generally pretty experienced and understand the program. So they're normally pretty good about respecting students' limits and things like that. And you will get the majority of your meals from the host families. And they're normally excellent cooks, so I had no complaints about that. Another aspect of the program is the excursions. Here is a picture at Lake Candy, I believe. If you participate in RLS, you may have already been there, but it's just one of the most beautiful places I've ever been to. There's also, we took a trip to the hot springs. We went to a sanatorium in East Kazakhstan this year. I don't think they had done an excursion there before, but it was really interesting. And then we also did local excursions, like to a mosque and a Russian Orthodox church, which went along with our religion unit of our courses, which was great. But what I really like about the excursions is that they help you see different parts of Kazakhstan. Like we went to East Kazakhstan. We also got to go to the capital, and I just thought it was important for me to see a lot of different parts of the country while I got to spend an extended amount of time there. So another aspect of the program is the internships. Similar to the direct enrollment courses, the internships are really dependent on the student. In terms of, there's an internship coordinator that goes with you to meet with local organizations and can help you find an internship that suits your interests. And again, the field that you want to go into later. So that really affects what kind of Russian you're going to want to develop. So I interned at the Eurasia Foundation of Central Asia. 365 Info is a media agency. My friend interned there, and he was able to write and publish articles in Russian with them under the guidance of an editor. There's also legal internships, the cardiology center for people who want to go into the medical field, an art museum, business TV, a volunteer group. So there's really, students end up doing a wide variety of things. So the Eurasia Foundation of Central Asia, this is where I did my internship. It is a nonprofit that uses private and public funding to promote civic engagement and economic prosperity in Kazakhstan. While I was there, this was the first time I was doing translation for an organization, both from English to Russian and Russian to English. I also helped with the application of grants for the organization and just provided general administrative support. And then I also had the chance to do some research on different development projects that took place both in Eurasia and globally. So I looked into projects that increased accessibility for people who have disabilities, and then also the development of social entrepreneurship programs for young people. So this photo is of one of our students doing an internship at the Almaty City Cardiology Center. And while she was there, she worked directly with patients and their families and reported back to the doctors using medical terminology all in Russian, which is pretty impressive. And then she also is seen here participating in and helping with a surgery. So the internships really are a chance to get that direct involvement and direct experience in your field, but in an entirely new cultural environment. This is Morgan. She had her internship at the Kostyev State Museum of the Arts. She also did translation there on the exhibits. I remember we had an excursion here and we actually saw some of her translations posted on different pieces, which was really cool for us all to see. But she writes that she also translated press releases and announcements, assisted at events, and even acted as a representative for the museum at exhibition openings, and even met with different members of foreign consulates. Oh, so here, just to shift a little bit to after capstone and the kind of opportunities that may be available after. This is a job that was just posted recently on the NCEP job board. So the NCEP job board is a resource, it's a federal job website that's accessible to students who have received the Boren Scholarship. So flagship students, a really big number of them receive the Boren Scholarship to study on capstone. And then afterwards, there's the federal service requirement or opportunity where students work in the federal government for a year. And then they also have non-competitive hiring eligibility when they're looking at federal jobs. So for more detailed information on capstone or any of the Russian flagship programs, you can check out the American Council's websites or also just the language flagship websites for each university. And then we also, some of you may have been at the other presentation event that we hosted that dove more specifically into internships on the capstone program. And we have the link to that here if anyone wants to watch that.